Hello, everyone, and welcome back for another episode of Professional Amazon Seller Podcast. This is your host, Ruben. And for today, we have a co founder of innovative outdoor gaming and toy, you name it, however you want to say it, but a company called Pop Darts. Here I have it. I would try to stick it into my camera, but I'm afraid I'm going to break it up. So I'll just leave it at there. You go, guys, and check out their social media, and you'll see what they do there. But Jason, it's good to have you here. And why don't you tell the audience what what you guys do, what the company is about, and tell me about yourself. And we're missing Josh in here, the other co-founder, Jason's brother. So hello to Josh whenever he gets the chance to review this.
Yeah, thanks for the intro. Yeah, so we invented this game called Pop Darts, and it's basically like a mixture. It's like suction cup bocce ball for indoors. You can play outdoors. We've got boards. The video is worth 1,000 words. So if you don't know what it is already, if you haven't seen it, we've got over 1 billion views on social, almost 2 billion now, which is pretty cool. All organic. So if you just Google Pop Darts, you'll find it out there. I'm sure. A video is worth 1,000 words, so dive in.
Here you go. Exactly. Yes. And video is something we'll discuss because it's been such a big component of what we've been doing on and off Amazon. Obviously, off Amazon, you guys kind of take ring inside on Amazon. So definitely, yes, the videos. I definitely suggest you guys check it out and kind of learn more and dive into it more. But tell like the most of the audiences, it's kind of a journey conversation what they like to hear. So correct me if I'm wrong. Well, obviously we met through an Amazon. That's kind of a. But I know you were on a TikTok. So was the journey started once you invaded? It was Amazon or it was TikTok then transition? How that went after like I think we got something like after that happened.
Yeah, so when we first started, we were my brother and I were both working our full-time jobs. I was in software as a service, doing sales, and my brother was in finance. We both, I think, wanted to get out of those careers, so we decided we're like, hey, let's try something different here. And so my brother came to me with this idea of like, hey, what do you think about this? And it was kind of like half baked, but he had the general idea in place. But then I was like, hey, I know a decent amount about Amazon, so I can help with that, and we can help with the product development, making a really cool product. So that's kind of how it all started. So we started once we it took us several months to get samples that we really liked. It went through a lot of different iterations. Wanted to make sure we had a quality product, safe product, all of that. But then we started hitting the ground running and just started posting on socials. And that's when TikTok, it was like back in 2021, I think. It was 2020 we came up with it. 2021, we conceptualized the first product, like end of 2020. 2021, we sold our first product. So that was March, I believe. But all that was because of TikTok, really. I mean, we were just posting social videos, no ad spend or nothing. And TikTok back then, it was the wild, wild west. I mean, it was the platform just came out. I mean, it was you could grow a channel pretty quickly.
Yeah.
We went from zero to I think once we actually started gaining some traction and understanding how to post a video and how to go viral, um, we went from zero to 1 million pretty quick.
Yeah.
Well, zero to 500,000 pretty quick, but that's what got us started in our organic game. And Ruben, before we met you, somebody told us we were like, "Oh no, we're not going to go on Amazon. We want all the profit for ourselves." We're like, "No, we'll just go Shopify. We're driving this traffic. Look at all these sales we're making on Shopify. Why would we give that to Amazon?"
Yeah.
Then we
Very
talked
fair
to
reaction, by the way. If you have it, that's normal. Whoever's watching it, if you have it, that's pretty normal. Yes.
Well, I'll call you, viewer, if you're thinking that the same thing somebody called me. They're like, "You're such an idiot." They're like, "Why would you not go on Amazon?" And for all the reasons I gave them, they're like, "No, Amazon isn't it's not a if, it's a must, and you just got to go on there and see what happens." And we did, and we realized that it didn't cannibalize; it just added to, and best decision we've ever made. I'll
Yeah.
say that.
Yeah. No, well, for sure. And that is the biggest thing, right? And that's an age-old kind of an debate. A lot of D2C brand. Admittedly, 2024 was the biggest year, I think, and based on the data as well, that we've seen D2C brands making that transition. The biggest reasons behind it because of a data, right? So the data starts coming out more and more proving the concept that because of you going to Amazon, you are not going to just cannibalize and that's it. There are a couple of, first of all, you're going to get, if people are looking for your brand on Amazon, if you're not there, I'm sorry, I can't really much say because if you're not there, someone else is going to serve their ad and then you're going to lose it because there's different types of buyers or venturers, right? When it comes to Amazon, let's say you're good on the social media, people seeing your ad, but they're not really confident buying it from you. And Amazon is that comfort zone that gives them to buy. And if you're not there, they might even not come back to you. And if you think they will, their chance. So having there will not only increase and add additional revenue on the Amazon, it will also balance your website, and it's going to work out. And Amazon is such an easier way to acquire that foot traffic, and do that. As far as the conversion data goes, much more profitable. It is a place definitely to be in. Not saying that because I'm kind of a service provider, I'm a seller myself. It just, that's kind of been proven more and more and more, and Amazon working. And yeah, thank you. So you heard it, everyone. And this is a very common, kind of a transition. Like we rarely see companies to start at Amazon and then kind of a branch out. Usually, successful starting and kind of a taking on, which is a really good way. So yeah, thank you. Uh, what would have been if you counter? It can be something recent or the early on the challenges within Amazon that kind of a struck to you, like whether it will be the logistics from them, advertising. What were the kind of memorized things that you could recall?
Yeah, so where do I start? Is what comes to mind.
Here you go.
Amazon.
This is why I bring it up because I don't want to talk only about the sunny parts of it.
Yeah.
It's also fun and games, but there's also the other side of it. So yes.
Yeah, I mean, it really depends on where you're at in your journey. It's all kinds of different things, really. But so when we first started out organically, to kind of go back on that story, we went viral, started getting some, and we were stubborn. We were not on Amazon yet, but we went viral, so we were getting Shopify orders, and a lot of them. But then we realized, well, here's a thought that we had. We thought if we go on Amazon, everybody using all these Amazon tools, trying to scrape data and all that are going to see, oh, hey, there's our product on here and it's selling pretty well. And then all these knockoffs are going to come on the scene.
Yeah.
So that was the theory. However, the other theory in that, which is also true, is that if you're not on Amazon, these people can already see how many people are searching on Amazon for a specific keyword before we're even on there. So sellers started seeing, hey, Amazon's being searched pretty heavily for a pop darts game, a suction cup dart game, whatever
Yes.
keywords they were using. And before you know it, we had thousands of knockoffs coming on the scene because we were getting views in the millions and millions and millions. Our first video that went viral was like 20 million views, and that really took off. And 20 million views back then went a lot further than 20 million
Right
views
now, yeah.
now does. So we were getting tons of traffic to Amazon. So moral of the story is our biggest pain point was all the knockoffs that started getting on the scene. So then it was like, okay, now we're backtracking. So if it were me starting over, I would say just get on Amazon, get ahead of it, be the brand that is ranking the best, and then you'll be fine to protect yourself.
Yeah.
When we got on there, we had to backtrack and we're like, okay, how do we kick these people off? First of all,
Yes.
regain our territory and do all of that. So that was an uphill battle from the get-go because we didn't get on Amazon right away. So that's the first part. So then it was managing all the knockoffs was the first thing. Then once you're on there, then you got to start running ads because Amazon's all about ranking. If you're watching this and you're deep into Amazon and you're trying to figure it out, you got to know, and you probably already know from your research, that ranking is the biggest thing. You can if you rank your product well, then Amazon automatically shows your product to a select
Yes.
number of people.
Yeah.
So you have to be consistent with that. So the way I think about it is, if I want to be ranked in a certain area, I have to sell at least as many units as the thing that I'm trying to get ranked above per day, or as much revenue or whatever
Per
that
week.
is.
Yes. Yes. Exactly.
And to do that, you either do it organically, you send your own traffic there, or you got to run ads. I will say, organically was easier back in the day, and Ruben and I have been through this roller coaster of how do we get more traffic to Amazon. But and we still try to do this. Organic is still a very large part of our strategy. It has to be, but in order to have controlled traffic there and controlled revenue and be able to control your ranking a lot better, you just got to get into the ads game.
Yeah.
And yeah,
And
that's where
I'll
Ruben
break
helped
down
us
here
out
a
a little
couple of
bit.
things. So for everyone who's still guessing, me, Jason, Pop Dart, we've been working together for over 2 years now. I think we started somewhere 2022. It was my kind of branching out and starting a company, and we've been working since together within ads, and then now expanding to doing a multitude of other things. And I do remember when we started, our first conversation was with the knockoffs and who are there, but you already had a pretty good grasp of how to handle them. And it's a topic of conversation probably for another time, or maybe even do a separate video how you can combat those, because we do see that a lot, especially for companies who, in a Pop Dart's case, they got a little bit lucky before getting into the retail. When you get retail and a distribution, that can go out of control pretty quick. So, as faster you get ahead of it, as more control you can have. And also, you said 20 million views back then, kind of a TikTok reflection. There are people who are sitting on a TikTok and finding viral products to launch on Amazon. So if you think you're viral and it's only you, so there are probably like 10 people already looking into that in Alibaba, how to source it. And there are people who most likely advertising it already. So that, as far as it goes, is a challenge. It's a very true challenge, and it can touch everyone. No one is kind of fully protected from that. So, and as a seller, it's your duty to combat that and be on the top of it. So it's a really good point out there. And as far as the ranking, I have my whole deck. Kind of for this is for a little bit towards to who are new. So the way the Amazon sales are algorithmic sales, all right. So you can there are things you need to do in order to be in a favor of an algorithm, and then rest kind of the other actions. But there is something called an indexing, and there is a ranking, and then the third phase, which third and second phase are kind of interconnected, is the conversion. So the first, you need to index for a keywords, which are when someone is looking for a keyword, is your product responding to our keyword? So that's the one. The second is your ranking, in which rank you have on Amazon when that keyword is being searched. And then third is a conversion, because as higher you rank and as more you convert, as higher you're going to continue to rank. And then it works as an opposite. If something happens, if you have a negative review, if you have a return, that ranking will start coming down. So the ranking is one of the key components on tapping into so-called Amazon flywheel or flywheel of sales. And to do that, yes, you need to figure out a ways. Jason mentioned here, it's an external traffic that they're working on. It's very like a tandem work, and also internally the Amazon. And right now, again, 2024 has been one of the biggest years for us as an organization, and working with the teams, kind of trying to diversify from the Amazon advertising and find new ways of creating that traffic. You'll recall the brand Taylor promotions, the deals that we're running, because a lot of times people view this as in discounting tools and completely leaving off the factor how this can be an acquisition tools with the fixed ACOS. So with that said, I want to bring up one of the kind of and for everyone, we've had ups and downs. It was never like we've had amazing years, and we had and we've constantly always been thinking how to evolve and fix things. And in 2024, one of those thinkings and brainstormings and came in something really good, and we've learned, which was we utilized one of those tools, and that's called the Amazon outlet deals. Jason, I'd like you to talk about that kind of because it was big, right? I'm kind of trying to hide my excitement of things that happened, but it was, it was fascinating to kind of go through with it. So what can you tell us about like kind of in the transition to Q4 and Amazon outlet deals that we went through and how it supported the business?
Yeah, I mean, this is this is one of those things in business that is just like you kind of fall into. Just, if you're a business owner, you run your own business, whatever happens, not everything goes to plan. And like Ruben said, we have had really big years, really some big ups and some not so, maybe not like really hard downs, but definitely maybe it's not continuing to go up, and that can get worrisome for a business owner. So we had 1 year to set the stage that we could not get enough inventory in. So we ordered as much as we possibly could. Then, things get delayed, you don't get the inventory in time, and all of a sudden, when you wish you would have had inventory during one stage, you didn't have it then, and then you have it during a stage that you didn't really need it at. So
Yeah.
then that brought us to Q4 of 2024. It was all of 2024. We had so much inventory left over from 2023. So we thought, okay, how do we manage this from this extremely high up to it didn't get delivered in time, couldn't capitalize on it on 2023, and now we're stuck with it in 2024. So we started brainstorming, okay, what are some ways we can get rid of this while also gaining new customers, because we had a lot of new products launching too. So we're like, well, with our products, whenever anybody buys Pop Tarts, they're like, oh, I want more colors, I want more whatever. So for us, it became like an acquisition tool.
Yes.
Um, so we thought, okay, let's use this outlet deal to, yeah, we're gonna allow a larger discount than we normally would ever do, because it's just not on brand for us to do that. We, have high quality products. We do all those things, and it didn't feel like the right choice at the time. But then we thought maybe it is. Maybe we can just use it as an acquisition, and we'll do it for a minute. And I think we tested it out on one, and then we quickly ran into, what are we doing with all this inventory? To, wow, we don't we don't have enough inventory anymore. So that's always really fun. And then there's always problems with every business. You're going to be like, how do we sell this stuff? And then you're like, wow, we're really selling this stuff like tens of thousands of units a day. And then you're like, man, where did all our inventory go? And then you got to start separating it. So then that's when we really kind of leaned heavily on Ruben's team and really started working through, okay, how can we strategize this to help lift some of other SKUs, because as we talked about, it's a ranking system, right? So that happened on one of our SKUs, and then that one quickly became the best seller. It became the best seller in darts, not just our little category, but like the best seller in all of Amazon, in
Yes,
all of darts.
in two categories and then one on the top category. Exactly. Yeah.
I mean, it was nuts. So you can imagine the traffic that goes to those categories and how our store just went crazy. So then we started talking about different strategies on how you can take some of that traffic and move it somewhere else. So then that's when we started talking about, okay, this one ASIN is doing super well. Let's get that ASIN in front of or that one SKU rather in front of other products that are the same but just different variations,
Yeah.
and move that over into a parent. And then now all of this traffic that's going to this one SKU is now being seen, or now all these customers are seeing different variations of this product, and it starts to kind of level out the ranking. And just then when that outlet deal goes off or whatever, when that runs out, then we throw an outlet deal on another SKU that isn't ranked as high.
Yes. And we repeated
So
that.
we just worked pretty closely with Ruben's team on shuffling as much as we could according to one, inventory levels, according to ranking, and according to making sure that we actually were profitable too,
Yeah.
on certain SKUs. So it was a fun little dance we got to play, I think, for for like a
Yeah.
month,
It
but
certainly
super beneficial.
and yeah. So first of all, for those who are interested about about this strategy, feel free to reach out. I'll break it down because just like Jason described here, this is not about discounting. Well, it first was at the beginning, but what came out of it, it's a full play strategy how to improve the ranking across the board organically. And remember, this traffic is organic because it triggers an email marketing, sends out. So this, although considers you giving some portion of the profitability away, but first of all, it's a fixed ACoS. If you know Amazon advertising, you know what the ACoS is. It can fluctuate depending your targeting. So this is a fixed ACoS, and it's also and considers an organic traffic. So us understanding the concept of an Amazon, of the ranking, of course the profitability, inventory, and advertising in general, we're able to put into deeper strategies than, hey, just this outlet this and discount this and sell. We use that into our advantage, and boy, it played out. Just like Jason said, from having this extra excess inventory to we don't have an inventory, we need to kind of rush it in, and to bestsellers ranked for almost a month consecutively, and millions of exposure, tens of millions of impressions, and millions of doors received new Pop Darts game, which isn't exciting because we also track a lifetime value as well. Because of our new product selection that comes out, new colors, new ways from a kids to pro, we want to understand from the first purchase what it takes for them to come back and what is their lifetime value. So that also played in an overall strategy of the new customer acquisition and expanding the Pop Darts army, but the bigger. So yes, it truly wasn't, something on that. There's the last thing that I want to kind of bring it up, which was I'm putting a more effort to introducing more and more the Creators Connection. Briefly, the Creators Connection is an Amazon affiliate program that bridges that gap between the affiliate marketers or the Amazon associates with Amazon sellers. This was another thing that we've kind of broken into new grounds of learning, and this is why it's a two-way of working together, right? This is not just me or like Jason taught me things that I suggested to do, which was I suggested to do Creators Connection, and Jason told me, hey, if we're doing this, we see this kind of a lift and optic, which was playing with the budget. So is there anything memorable from the Creators Connection aside from, the affiliate marketing does a lot for Amazon sellers?
Yeah, just a note definitely on that, but a note in general just on how a partnership I think should work too. And I think this is why we've had such a good partnership for however many years it's been now. It's because if you're gonna work well with an agency, you can't necessarily just like set it and forget it. In some cases, like I can set it and forget it, and I can like you guys can run our ads, you guys can correct our listings, you guys can do all of those things. But like you have to understand where everybody's at. Like you guys are in the weeds on all of that for multiple clients too. So as a business owner, you always have to be thinking outside the box. Like what else is coming out? What else is new? What else can we work on? So that's where creator connections came into the mix. That's where the outlet deals came into the mix because we had our own unique problems inside our business that we were trying to solve. When
Yeah.
I'm researching that and I'm listening to podcasts like this, trying to think of new ideas to like help me alleviate my problems, then I come across the creator connections. I come across some of these other things. But there's a huge difference between coming across these things and actually doing them and consistently doing them. And that's why I view this as such a partnership because I can think of different ideas that we want to try, but I don't have the time with all the other stuff that I'm doing to hop in and actually do all of those things and then to run the ports on all those things. Like I had an idea just this morning. You may not have even seen it, and I pinged somebody from your team and I was like, "Hey, Hassan, can you go do this?"
Yeah.
And he was like, "Yeah, 100%, absolutely." And it was like within an hour I had a report of what I needed. It was a quick idea that I had. Oh, if I can get all these keywords that are the best keywords that we've been running on Amazon, I'm going to cross-reference that and I'm going to create campaigns for my ads on Facebook and Meta, and that's going to help us lift that because now I'm going to target these audiences with these pain points. And so you have to think of Amazon as like a tool to help you get so much more out of your business, not just Amazon, it's Meta and it's all over the place. And to have a team like you guys to be able to help pull that data out of Amazon, which I will say, if you're not on Amazon yet and you're listening to this, it is an extremely non-user friendly
Yeah.
platform. It is actually the worst. I will say that, like, you can you can pull a report or whatever, or you can make a change on a listing and it'll say change made reflected in 15 minutes. You go back 15 minutes later, it's not there.
Nothing is done. Yeah.
Nothing's there. So having a team that understands those things and having somebody that can do that for you and not be the person that's double checking 15 minutes later, it's so I preface that just to say, if anybody's listening, don't think just set it and forget. You can set it and forget it and you'll do fine. But if you want to absolutely crush it, you got to actually spend some time too and think, what are my business needs and how can I leverage Ruben or whatever Amazon team that you're using? I would recommend Ruben. I have to many people, as Ruben knows. I've had many, I've been through many agencies, and Ruben, and I think the longest agency I've been with was for 3 months. I give everybody 3 months, and I'm like, you can't figure this out in 3 months, you're done. And I've fired, I don't know, 7 other agencies until I found Ruben, and we've been with them for years. So yeah, I would say leverage your team as much as possible. Be transparent about your business goals, and him and his team are going to really help you accomplish a lot.
Thank you. Yes, absolutely, and it is. I like you know myself. I have brands as well that I sell on Amazon, not in a size, but it is difficult. I need to rely because just like there are things that come around that you want to do, and not you cannot be everywhere at all time doing everything. Like, but what I realized because before I was doing the agency, and now I'm starting getting the branch. Like the reason why we're so successful with working other brands because they have the founders like you who driving the brand and we are bringing our Amazon knowledge to help that vision to come through. But when you are yourself, like it's going to be difficult, so you have to have that kind of a synergy working with and putting it together. And I think you wrapped it up great. And actually, my last question was going to be, what will be your, for future sellers, what you will say, and you kind of summarized it so well there. If you have anything to share for your listeners, kind of on who's into that journey, who either want to start or already been there. If you have anything yet to that subject, please go ahead. But yeah, we got to our last question here, which is just that if you have anything to say for the listeners or the sellers, having transitions.
Yeah, I mean, if I think any seller that's listening to this, if you're running a 7, 8 figure brand, you know, in order to grow, you constantly have to shift, and you constantly have to use leverage data as best as possible. So I would just say I've been using Amazon a lot more as a tool to help us grow just because of how much traffic is out there. So whatever is working on Amazon, it will most likely work as well on Shopify or through Meta ads or whatever it might be. The conversion rate won't be as high, most likely. Definitely likely it won't be as high, but you can leverage a lot of the information you get off of Amazon to help you succeed otherwise. And then my last note I think I would just say is what I kind of mentioned before, and that Ruben knows how much inventory, and his team knows how much inventory is on Amazon or maybe on its way to Amazon. Ruben doesn't know that I've got a container that just fell in a ditch somewhere, and like all of these things that are happening within your business, your partners don't know unless you fill them in on it. So expect Ruben to be a good partner. He will be, but also you need to be a good partner in knowing, like, hey, keeping everybody up to speed with what's going on here. And like for inventory levels, he doesn't know how much inventory we have sitting at our 3PL. He doesn't know how much is at our warehouse overseas. So like if he doesn't know that, he can't give the suggestions of like, hey, let's run an outlet deal.
Yeah,
Because based on your inventory in there, you shouldn't run an outlet deal because you're you're gonna be out
exactly.
of stock. And we're planning on inventory sell through, and he's seeing the sell through. But for us, I know I got 40,000 units I need to get through over here. So if I tell him that, then he can give me the suggestion of, hey, there's actually this outlet deal. So why don't we test this on one? And then if it goes well, then we can send over some of that inventory and use that for the outlet deal. So I would just say really lean in to your partnerships and be transparent, and it'll be as successful as you make it. I'll leave it at that.
Here you go. You heard it from Jason, and I could not agree more. All of our successful partnership and is one of our company values from day one has been based on the transparency and working together. Just as simple as that, without any much fuss. A lot of people know Amazon. A lot of people know how to do things. No doubt. But the successful relationship come out from working together, sharing transparency in both sides, and the results will come together. So, Jason, again, thank you very much for hopping on a call together and doing this recording with me. It's always a pleasure working with you. Like I said, it's such a two-way learning all the time, and I'm looking forward for new achievements with you.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Take care.